Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
A little bit older than you.
I'm not touching this topic. I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
Mediocre, mid-table, rabble on.
So I just want to be able to talk as much
If you
crap.
play a night game, he has to turn the bloodlines on.
No one would have believed that he would keep his job for as long as he had. But
Hello, good evening, and welcome to episode 419 of the Wednesday Week on Cloud 9. So we're here to talk about Sheffield Wednesday, and we will touch on last night's disappointment as well. So we'll get to that in our lovely segment. So there will be a warning as well, because I know Dan's tweaked the volume on that. It's a bit high, but welcome everyone. How are we all? Everybody on the interwebs and socials. Stevie, Charlie, how are we both?
yeah, not too bad. It's, it would have been nice to win, but it's all right, innit? I feel like everyone generally agreed that, like, it wasn't maybe as bad as the last Euros. It's not as bad as going out on pens. They were a better team.
Yeah.
Everyone saw it coming. Everyone was a bit like, yeah. Oh, we got battered, did we? Yeah, fair enough. So, I don't know. It wasn't... I've been sadder. So,
Stevie, how are you? How are you feeling this morning after last night's?
It did hurt. I'm not going to lie. I've said to our lot privately that if we were in a situation where I could sit with Molly and we could sit and watch football and watch England win a trophy, in our lifetime, because those times I feel are becoming more and more finite as I get older. It would have been a good opportunity for me to make some memories with my daughter. But at the end of the day, you can't argue. Spain didn't lose a game. They've won. And I'm getting ahead of myself. I know we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
We can't complain. Can't complain. Sorry.
Simon, you're all over it already, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, mate, I'm exactly the same. Full-time whistle went last night, 10 o'clock, in my PJs, in bed, done. That's it.
Bed. That was it. Me done.
I really don't see no point in thinking about it. We've got better things to worry about anyway, haven't we? We've got nearly 4 weeks. Nearly 4 weeks to start the season. August the 11th. 4 p.m. is when the real fun begins. So that's it. England, we'll get on to him later in the show. But yes, so here we are. We've made this week a bit of a recap. We've made a couple of signings. We've bought Charlie McNeil, the Manchester United youngster, and Nathanial Chalobah. He's got a one-cap wonder, and we'll get onto that later. But yeah. Charlie McNeil. To be honest, guys, I really don't know anything about him. Sorry.
he has scored over 600 goals at youth level and has scored 24 in 21 for the under-18s, which was about 5 minutes ago for him, because he's not very old. So that's quite good. That's not like normally when they're like, oh, we're signing this bright young talent. Well, he was a bright young talent 10 years ago, and then he's not done anything since. Technically, he still counts as a bright young talent. So, 600 goals. That's a lot of goals.
Sheffield Wednesday signing a bright young talent.
Unbelievable.
They're usually leaving, not coming to S6.
Yeah.
That's it. So, Steve, go on. Do you know much about Charlie McNeil? Because the only thing I can think of that you've got to trust, we're putting all our trust. I'm not saying everyone. A lot of Wednesdayites are putting it in the backroom staff and the players that are bringing in. Obviously, the only thing in his interview, he said that he nearly came last year, so it's not a Danny Rule signing. So, Steve, what do you make to it, Charlie?
I've done about as much research as Charlie has in terms of Charlie McNeil and read Wikipedia. To be honest with you, it's not the marquee centre forward striker that you'd signing that you'd want, is it? But at the end of the day, this is a kid who has scored, joking aside, as many goals as he has for Manchester City, wasn't it, that he scored the goals for? And then Manchester United the age of 16, 17 have decided that they're going to lump £750,000 on him. If we're talking about signing a player that's gone to Manchester United from Man City within 4 years, and I know we've had COVID and there'll have been extenuating circumstances, on paper that's a good signing. And I think the only sort of downside to it is that he's gone to Newport and his record wasn't great. He's only scored 2 or 3 goals. I think, what was it? I'm just looking now. 2 goals in 20 games at Newport. Only scored 1 in 3 at Stevenage. So he's not been prolific in the lower leagues, and you'd hope that he might have been. So for me, it's a gamble. Although it's a good sign on paper, it then becomes a gamble. But at the same time, I said it last week. I've said it the week before. If Danny Rule wants to sign a player based on the recruitment that we've got, he can sign whoever he wants.
So, Simon, what have you got any thoughts on McNeil? Like, are you like the same as us? Is it going to be one of these hidden diamonds that Danny Rule was mentioning the last couple of days that he wants to find?
Sort of following on what the guys have said, I did my Wikipedia search as well. So pretty much we were all reading the same. I think it's
We're
pretty
so
impressive.
professional.
It is. I mean, people could have typed anything knowing we use Wikipedia, and we could be coming out with all sorts of facts, couldn't we, that actually aren't true. I think that the marquee thing is that Man United signed him from City for £750,000, a lad who's in his teens. That boasts there that they saw some value to him at some point. He's actually been with Wednesday since April, so Danny's had a really good look at him. And took him to St. George's. He didn't just turn up. He went with the rest of the team. So he knows quite a few of the players. So I again, like Steve says, you've got to trust in these signings that Danny's making. And he's seen him, and he's obviously seen something in the lad. He's been prolific in the past. So look, he's a gamble, but I think it's a positive gamble. He's only 20. Can you imagine if he turns into prolific striker and we get something like 10, 15, 20 million for him in 2 or 3 years' time? That'd be a right signing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the only thing is that because he's still young, and like Stevie said, he's not going to be number one up front. It's going to be Ugbo or another or on that ilk of player. Why do you think they've brought another youngster in? We've got Cadamarcha. Do you think Cadamarcha is going to go out on loan, or do you think McNeil might go out on loan and just have one of them? Is he an investment player? So I just think that it's a strange one for me when we've got such a highly rated youngster already that has scored at this level to bring another one in. Stevie, am I talking bollocks like usual, or?
No, I get your point, but I don't think that we've signed him with a view to sending him straight back out on loan. I think he'll be in and around the squad, and I know that you've said between us that if there's anybody that's going to go, it may very well potentially be Cadamarcha to go and get minutes elsewhere. But I see him getting a decent pre-season, and like Simon's just said, if he's coming early and has spent some time with the club, and we've gone to St. George's, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. The setup for pre-season looks like it's bang on. I don't think we could ask much more at the moment, and I'm really excited about what's happening. If McNeil's come in, we're bringing him in surely to have a look at blooding him in the pre-season friendlies that we've got, get him some minutes, have a look at where he is, maybe even potentially compare him to Cadamarcha and see where they are one against the other. For me, if we're looking at signing somebody with that level of potential, however many years ago, he's still young enough to be coached, and I maintain that we have got one of the best coaches going at the minute, in terms of management. And I would suggest also that the team that he's built around him is one that can nurture a talent that has clearly been there at a younger age. So we'll see where he goes.
It's obviously done Cadamarcha a lot of good being around the first team, and I think sometimes it's very easy to kind of hold back with younger players, like, oh, they'll grow into it, like they'll be coached. But actually, sometimes there is a bit of like a trial by fire sometimes. And I think we've also got a squad that a lot of them are quite far the other way, aren't they? They're sort of on the 30 and over. And I think it's a very smart move to start thinking about what next, where you can't suddenly just lose an entire big chunk of kind of key players off when they all age out. I do wonder whether there's perhaps already some plans like in the fire with Cadamarteri going out, like because he signed for a while, didn't he? It was quite a whopping long contract. Was it a 5-year contract, something like that? When they got Cadamarteri signed, I'm sure it was quite a lengthy contract.
I thought it was 4.
Maybe
I might be
4.
wrong.
No, it was definitely more than what it wasn't one of the sort of the shorter contracts that we often tend to give out, and so perhaps there's already been some kind of thought about him going out and getting some other minutes elsewhere. Like I don't know, but then not wanting to kind of lose that youth in there. I don't know, but it'll definitely be interesting to see. And it's obviously again, I agree with Stevie. Anything Danny thinks is a good idea, I think is a good idea. I'm fully signed up to that. So
you've also got to look at the standards of academies as well. I mean, Man City and Manchester United's academies are no mugs, are they? And I would imagine their standard, no disrespect to CADS and our academy, but I would imagine their standards a little bit higher than ours. So the fact that this guy's been scoring for fun in probably higher intensity and higher standards of academy games means that he may actually be a better player than Cadamarteri. And we see ourselves as having a gem with him. Now this guy, is played at a higher level, I think, academy wise. So he might actually be a better player. Who knows? They've obviously seen something in him, haven't they? And that's the main thing. Yeah,
well, go to the comments where the boss has been on. Yeah, so when he was making the announcement video, he saw his youth level finishers are lethal. So, I mean, he's looked through a fair few goals to making that announcement video. So, he's also, I think he's bored, but he's come on again. He wants Bailey playing for us this whole get minutes for another team. So you're around men's football. He's dated old British tosh. Spain have just won an international tournament with a child.
Really? They never mentioned that once.
He was not.
They have a young player.
Which player was that one?
In Spain. Young was he?
That.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. They should have really made more of that. I think that would have been interesting.
Who again is a guy who basically grew up in Barcelona's academy and went all the way through Barcelona's academy since he was actually weaned off the chest. So
all the way. So, he's 16. He's gone like a couple of years.
17,
no. Sorry, he's 17 actually.
I must have missed that announcement.
Are you trying to suggest that maybe Barcelona's academy is a bit better than Sheffield Wednesday's academy? Wow, that is a bold claim. A bold claim.
Well, I'm there for it, Charlie.
Scotch 24's been on. I think if anyone goes out on loan, it's Smith. I think personally they'll try and offload him if they can. Me, I think he's one of them that's going to be under a bit of pressure to leave. Really. Here we go. Let's have a look. We've had a nice shirt, Charlie. So yes, Charlie's for them on the audio medium. Charlie is sporting a very nice orange number. Yeah. Brendan Madden's been on. McNeil will never be as bad as Ashley Fletcher. So
that's the bar.
That's a very low bar
to beat.
Yeah. So that's it, McNeil. We've done him. I'm sure he's going to turn out fantastic. I totally agree with what you said, Stevie, about his goals at the lower level, where we've seen Cadamarteri has done it, in Championship. So he may be in the training and the academy, Simon, that you're saying, but actually men's football that Dan says is thing. He's scored a couple of goals, but hey, if he stays and he gets the chance, but I'm sure he'll be an impact sub or a league player.
You've got one that's quite interesting. You've got this thing that you've said privately amongst our lot in that.
It's privately. Don't put it on the interwebs, Stevie. Jesus.
When we talk about the turnover of players, and it was, although we got 1 and then 2 and then 3 over the line, you're the kind of person that will always say, well, pragmatically, we've offloaded 12, 13 players or whatever it is. We've got this many first team players available. I think it'd be folly of us to be talking about getting rid on loan of somebody if we haven't got a full complement of first team players to sort of pick from. We would have to get, it's 25, isn't it? The first team squad, is it 25 players? You'd have to get at least 25 players in and around it before you start looking at whether or not we're going to buy people into loan. I said last week, I think there's a master plan. I think there's an idea as to who we've got, and I still think there will be at least another signing, if not 2 or 3 this week. I do believe that the plan, I've not seen anything to suggest this is the case, but I would believe that the plan would be he flies out to Austria, Germany, with as close to his first team squad, his full complement of first team squad as possible, just to make sure that they maximise the amount of time that they get.
Yeah, he has said that, and he does want to get his business done early to get the best out of pre-season, which is totally understandable. But I'm thinking that there's going to be at least 1 or 2 spaces left for August. So once the Premier League and other teams have got their business done, there's going to be some spares floating around, I'm sure. And if there's something that Danny likes the look of, he may have a spot for them. But one spot that is took up is another midfielder. So we've said hello to Nathanial Chalobah, England international, quite on the money at the minute with England playing yesterday. So yeah, I'm gonna open this up to Stevie first, because we're gonna start off. Are you ready for this, Stevie? We're gonna start off with probably the greatest stat for it's Nathaniel, isn't it? It is Nathanial Chalobah. Stevie, the floor is yours.
Would you like me to read the whole thing?
You read your intensive, up to date.
Obviously, you're aware, and I'm old enough to remember him being at Chelsea. I can remember him being at Watford. He's done the rounds. Bottom line, before we go any further, this is a kid who's played, over 240 odd games at Championship and Premier League level. He's played in the Premier League. He has played at international level. However, he's not somebody that has sort of hit the headlines over the last sort of 3 or 4 years as somebody who you'd know a great deal about. So I wanted to know my stuff before we jumped on tonight, and I thought I'd go back to good old faithful Wikipedia and have a look at what they were saying. I don't trust the dates and the numbers too much on there, but his international career update was absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to read the last paragraph. There's nothing more Wednesday when it comes to England internationals than this. In August 2017, Chalobah was named in the England squad for the first time for the 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Malta and Slovakia. He made his debut on the 15th of October 2018 as a sub for Harry Winks in the first minute of stoppage time in England's 3-2 away win to Spain in 2018-19 UEFA Nations League A. So first of all, he's beaten Spain before. With the competitive
Have that, Bellingham.
He's already won up. With the competitive status of the fixture tying him to England permanently from then on. As he came on in added time for his only England cap, Chalobah officially has an England career of 0 minutes. But in actual time, he played for 6 minutes and 54 seconds. This is 1 second more than Martin Kelly, who holds a record for the shortest England career in actual time played. So what we've got here, we've signed an England international that has got 0 minutes on his career. If you look at the fine print, has played for 6 minutes and 54 seconds. But we can't even call him the shortest England international of all time in terms of career, because Martin Kelly's is 1 second shorter.
He's the second shortest. That only Wednesday could do that. The second shortest, isn't it?
Ash Green's been on. Now we're clutching at straws. Look, I would imagine that a lot of people listening to this podcast and England career would grow up, man, boy, woman, child, would love, if you're into football, would love to be an international in whatever youth setup, disabled football, any sort of to represent your country. And I know we've just said I've stitched Stevie up by doing that, but he's an England international and he's living the dream of millions of people. So, I mean, it's right, but I'm still getting it. It's an England international. So we've signed an England international. So previously at West Brom, I mean, I can't. I'm rubbish. My memory is shocking, but I can't really remember much of him. He's not. I understand he's one of these hard-working midfielders, and he hasn't stood out. You know, you do get headline hitters. Someone's just put on here, which I've just got Thunderbird. Do we need headline hitters in midfield? He's nonplussed to me. He's 29, so he's getting to that age. I'm sure we've got him on a good deal. We've got to have got him on a good deal. I don't want it to be one of those that is going to cost us. Simon, what's your thoughts on Chalobah? If I'm anyone who if I'm pronouncing it wrong, please let me know, because you know I'm like with.
It's we've obviously had a number of signings up until this week have been sort of headline grabbing, haven't they? And then this one came out, and I was a bit probably like the rest of you, other than the England part aside, was who, what, where, why, when. And then you look at him, and he's quite a journeyman. When he was at Chelsea, he's done exactly the same as a lot of our previous Chelsea loanees have done. Is literally travel from club to club to club, as what Chelsea used to do. But like Stevie says, he's played in the Championship, he's played in the Premiership. You know, he's cut his teeth on higher level football. So West Brom fans are a bit mixed about him, and some have sort of alluded to reading some of the tweets about him that he's a bit Backinson-esque in regards to he'll give you 5, 10, 15 minutes of skills and then disappears from the game. But if anything, again, back to Danny Rule, you know, he's the guy who's picking these players. He's the guy who's going out and choosing these players to come in. He obviously saw when Backinson was here that Backinson wasn't anybody to play in the team, and obviously it was proved again when he went to Charlton, and they've not wanted him and released him. So again, I'll go back to Danny. We trust him. He obviously sees something in the player. He's got great pedigree. You know, he's come from Chelsea, and we've had a couple of decent players that we've taken from Chelsea in the past. You know, Sam Hutchinson for one, Michael Hector for another. So, you know, some of them are good, some of them are not so good. So, but no, I'll take it. He's a defensive midfielder. Is he going to be better than Volksy? He's a similar age, isn't he? We've given him a 3-year contract. So, but again, Danny obviously sees something in the player, so I'll trust him. Let's see what happens on that first day of when the season kicks off, and then we can make our judgment then, can't we?
Yeah, Craig Hayward's just said, to be fair, it's a position we need with Volks leaving.
Yeah.
And I still think there's another position in centre midfield spare. I think we still need some more. Charlie, what's your thoughts on Chalobah?
Yeah, apparently he scored against us in 2015 when he played for Reading in a 2-0 win over us. I was reading that and I was thinking, I don't remember that. And then I was like, Charlie, it was nearly 10 years ago. Of course you don't remember it. What you're talking about. I was like, oh God, I'm so old. Yeah.
So old, Charlie. Really old. Yeah, really, really old.
I think, yeah, it's very much like the proof's always in the pudding, and we say this a lot about like transfer stuff with Wednesday. What is a good bit of business? Well, you know, we haven't done necessarily a good bit of business in a while, and I think this is the first time in a long time where there's been a real sense that like maybe we've got a bit of money to throw around. We're getting so many people through. Like I think we said this about like January, like when we only got 2 or 3 through, and it was a bit like, well, God, really hope they're good because we've not kind of cast a very wide net. The amount of signings we're making makes me feel more confident, because say McNeil ain't that good, or say Chalobah ain't that good, that's okay as long as like 3 or 4 or 5 of them are. And I think like there's a lot to be said for that. But I don't know if you guys saw that Alex Miller had talked to Windass kind of about signings and stuff, and apparently like the vibes are really good. Like Windass was sort of saying like there's some real talent. Like I can't remember exactly who he said was a beast, but he was making some really positive comments about like the new lads, and that's a good sign, isn't it? Like established player thinking, you know, that he's seeing some good stuff. So I think a lot of it is going to be about the fact that it's not maybe just about the individuals we're bringing in, it's about strengthening the squad with a whole host of new talent. And if there's the odd dud, if there's the odd slightly naff signing, hopefully that's not going to kind of throw the whole game plan off.
Yeah, Jay Bloggs has been on. I'm a firm believer that Danny's building a team for the style he wants to play, not individuals.
Yeah.
There we are.
I think just if you go back to Charlie's point about those late signings, though, do you know what? When we got the two in January and the two outfield players, Poveda and Ugbo. Poveda, you're like, he's down the pecking order at Leeds, but Ugbo, everybody turned their nose up at Ugbo in January. Nobody will tell me otherwise. He was late over. He was late through the door. He'd had a shitty record against Cardiff when he were playing for Cardiff. He'd not done it at this level, and then he's come in, and it took him a game or two, if I remember rightly, to get himself going. But once he'd scored that first goal, he was an absolute monster for us, and I'd have him back tomorrow. So you know, like to the point with McNeil, the young lad, when you've got that coaching set up around it, and if they can get to a point where they're nurturing that talent and getting through, there's nothing to say that this lad isn't going to be good for us because of past history. I'm not overly concerned about what West Brom say. At the end of the day, again, you look at the numbers. I think he played 46 games for him last year, so it's not somebody who's running down and has sat on the bench for half a season and not had any minutes and has been let go. He's not a Jeff Hendrick sort of character. This is a guy who's played regular football for the full season last year.
Yeah, just one thing on Nathanial Chalobah. The boss has been on. Dan, I want to hear what Molly has to say about him. So Dan's put you in the seat here, Molly. Come on, what do you think of Nathanial Chalobah?
No.
You're not having him?
No.
Why not?
No. Because no. Because one reason.
Please tell the 10 people watching.
Computer pronounce his name, and we need someone easy, to pronounce his name. And also another reason, he's too young, I think.
He's 29.
He's 29.
Too young. We need like people like Barry Bannon now. How old is he now? Like,
we need people the age of Barry Bannon.
I agree with that. Oldies like me.
I mean, I don't know what to say to that. I think you've just made me speechless there, Molly. I don't know what your dad has been telling you.
If she'd have stopped at, we need somebody whose name I can pronounce, I'd have worn it. But too old. I'm not having it. You're 10 years old now, dude.
Just have to call him Little Dave or something like that. Then, if you can't pronounce his name.
With Ash Green. Sorry, he's not convinced. Now, I'm hoping that's against Chalobah and not Molly. So that might be your first negative review there, Molly.
It's not the first negative review in Team Spencer.
So we've seen on social media and everything that the team have been at the St George's Park, which is home of the losers. England football FA is based there, so it's not faring well for the new season. Let's not hope we copy England in the way we're going to play and attack the season. But yeah, training at world-class facility, obviously not Middlewood Road. Danny and his backroom staff, which we haven't mentioned, which is probably another new signing. Chris is back in it. Chris is back. So I think that is going to be one of the signings. So we've had the manager, we've had one of his assistants. So I think the backroom staff, and then we've had a new technical stats guy as well, who's coming from some French German club, I believe.
Frankfurt.
So, Frankfurt. Thank you, Simon. So yeah, so they've been St George, but good to get away for a bit, Charlie. Do you think? I think Danny Rule is definitely taking this pre-season seriously. On and off the pitch, so gotta be good to get good facilities.
Yeah, and I think there's a professionalness to it. Is that word? Professionalism to it that maybe other clubs aren't impressed by because that's how they normally do things. But like with the nice early signings and the slick kind of operation, not only are we getting bodies through the door, but we get the backroom staff, it's sorted, and it's clear Danny's having a hand in all the stuff that's going on, and by all accounts potentially Chansiri's he's running things by him and stuff, and it's like he's making actual deals, and it all seems yeah, it just seems all very slick, and I think they're getting away and kind of really focusing on preseason, because you shouldn't really care about preseason, like, as in you shouldn't have a breakdown about it. But it does have a place. It has a place in kind of like squad confidence and like getting Danny to really see like how things are going to work. But I also think that there is a good preseason sets a really good precedent, like with just morale and everything else. And I think, I like the way it's all going so far. I mean, I'm just kind of enjoying this bit though, because this is Schrodinger's season. We don't know how it's going to go yet. So it all feels really positive. So I'm just going to be like, woo, and just choose to enjoy it. Because you genuinely do never know with Wednesday.
It's the hope that kills you, isn't it?
That's what they say.
It is. I mean, it's great to see all the behind the scenes training that the club are putting out there. We keep, I think we say it every week, but social media for the club is up there. But Simon, have you been impressed with what you've seen with St George's Park and the team there?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think preparation is key, isn't it? And 12 months ago, I think that the lack of preparation and planning was absolutely evident in regards to what we saw as Wednesday fans after Moore leaving and Cisco Moonhouse coming in and the backroom staff that came in. I'll keep going back to it. I know everybody, Danny is a fantastic manager, but I'll keep going back to this, the backroom staff, Chris and all the guys who we've got. I think there was a photograph, wasn't there, on the pitch? It looked like the red arrows in the new training kit. And that really cements there where we are compared to last year. It's chalk and cheese. Like Charlie says, there'd be probably teams in the Championship and certainly in the Premier League who are, what are they going on about? I mean, this is how clubs work. But, we've not seen that for so long now that we've had... If you go back to the Gary Monk days, we were, who's going to be backroom staff? And at one point, I think it was Gary Monk and Doris, the tea lady, wasn't it? Now we've got a setup now which is as good as a Premier League team. And I'm trying to scroll back on my phone while we're talking about where we were this time last year, because Dan will probably, if Dan's still listening, we went to Mercia in a pre-season tour. And it was absolutely diabolical. And I remember watching it on YouTube, a grainy video on YouTube. We hadn't signed anybody. It was just dreadful. And there was no prep. And we saw that, didn't we? The first game of the season against Southampton, where they just basically passed it around us until we just said, there you go, you can score. This is so different. And we all get taught, don't we, in our lives to plan and prepare. And we're doing it. And it's a bit alien as a Wednesday fan in the last few years.
The plan is, obviously, I think they fly out on Friday to, I think it's a base in Germany, but then they play in Austria. So, Stevie, I mean, for that preparation, I think Wednesday fans have been those who follow home and away or want to get away and watch Wednesday abroad is being a great announcement. A bit late for me. I think they wanted plans a bit earlier, but it's good to see that, and the caliber of teams that he's picked as well. He's going to be a proper test pre-season.
Yeah, I don't think we would attract that level of opposition if it wasn't for Danny Rule. And I know you just said that he's picked the players. Pick the opposition. I think ultimately, the profile of where this club is, it bodes really, really well and really, really positive. And to the point where that Charlie made a couple of minutes ago, if we hit the ground running, and I'm not saying that we go top of the league and we storm it or anything like that, because reality is that's not going to happen. And the noises out of the club, they're realists and they know where they are. And if you go back to the Chris Powell video, the one at St George's Park, he's basically said on there, I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but we knew that the plan was always that we'd be here for at least another year, if not two, and then beyond that. So they're talking about it, but within that sort of mindset and that sort of rationale, they are looking at top 10 as a bare minimum. And if you're setting your sort of levels there, then the reality is then they don't think they're going to win the league. We're not going to win the league next year. We don't have the resource to win the league with teams that have come down, parachute payments, FFP, etc. But what we do have is a lot of promise and a lot of sort of positivity around the place, and it's just an exciting time to be a Wednesday fan. I genuinely believe that. There's been a couple of comments, I know you flashed one up about the backroom staff and us having loads of backroom staff now. For me, it's alongside that Moneyball approach, it's also the marginal gains, which I'm a massive fan of as a sporty person, as somebody who's into it. You know, if we brought an analyst in who's going to sit and troll through Plymouth's pre-season, so we know where we're going to be on the first game of the season, and we know where that goalkeeper is going to be standing, where he kicks, what his tendencies are, what the centre halves do when in this situation, what the striker does in that situation, what the strengths and areas for development are, then I'm excited by that, because it shows the level of planning that we're going into, and I really want to sort of take that into next season. And if we've got that, irrespective of, you know, the quality of player that we've got a management and coaching setup that is going to give us that extra lift. And if we keep doing that, the profile's only going to get higher and higher.
Yeah, I've got a comment here from Lost Boys. Correct, pal. Resources aren't everything. The fans can carry a team with the spirit a long way. Not all the way, but a long way. And I think we've seen that as Wednesday fans in the last couple of seasons. No more so than obviously Peterborough. And then even the last 6 games, turning up at Blackburn, 7,500 virtually. So I staunchly believe that no one can ever say about Wednesdayites and not one giving a shit, because we do, and we prove we do by turning up when even when not needed, but especially some of the big games at Hillsborough we've had. So I think this season, straight from Plymouth, I know we're going to get messed around with Sky TV and all the kickoff times, which are going to play havoc for people who spent 850 quid on a season ticket if you're mad enough to do that. But I do believe with the backroom staff all in order, and the little bit of confidence, it's still Wednesday, so you can't be all the way in, but the signs are there pre-season, getting your stuff done early, the owner staying out of the way, so or being very quiet behind the scenes. We haven't had any of that stuff, just letting the backroom staff and do things. And there's other stuff behind the scenes that's happening as well, that's like off-field things as well, that just little bit of going into the new season with a bit of hope.
So this time last year we were in Spain, and the 2 signings we'd made were Johnson and Reece James, and we hadn't signed any new players whatsoever. We didn't actually sign. Our first new signing was Delgado, who we've now released.
Wow.
And that was after we'd returned from Spain. I've just got back to it. Actually takes grim reading 12 months ago on Facebook. It's grim reading, I'll tell you. Yeah, and obviously Dan went over, didn't he, and watched a couple of games. But yeah, then we came back and we signed Delgado. And I think our second or third signing after that was Ashley Fletcher. So that's how well 12 months ago was compared to now. Yes, I see it in your face, Ash.
So just let me, I know we've done transfers, just let me recap. So Ashley Fletcher, a $750,000 signing that's 1920 in McNeil. It's not too bad, is it?
Yeah.
Marvin Johnson, did you say last season?
We
re-signed him.
Re-signed him and re-signed Reece James. So basically we kept the side that got us promoted, took them to Mercia, and then we started bringing in new players after that.
Yeah, because Reece James signed permanently, didn't he? And then was it 48
yes, that
hours?
was it.
48 hours, I think Cisco came in. So it's obviously signed for one manager and then thing. But hey, that's all in the past now. Last season's done. We loved it. We lived it. We're still here, Championship Owls. So right, we've got to move on. We've got to bring it down a little notch or two. We really have. I've got to mention it, but just a warning. Just turn your radios down for 1 second, everyone. There's a warning coming up.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
That's right. The last time on the Wednesday week for probably 2 years is a Euro update and review, preview, post view, whatever. A bit of a deep dive on what happened last night. Yes, if you've not seen it, if you've lived under a rock for the last 24 hours, England, yes, they lost 2-1 to Spain, best team in the tournament, I think, anyway, in the Euro final last night. Oh, guys, all done in it for another couple of years. Simon, what did you make of last night?
Right, so when we scored, so when they scored, it started the second half, I said, well, this is a good time for them to score in a way, because we've actually got 45 minutes left. So at least it's not in the 90th minute. And then when we changed our play, like we did every other game, we've fallen behind during the Euros. And we actually went at them. And the only team I've seen go at Spain really was France, where they really closed them down, didn't allow them to play, and did high press. And we were doing that, and we scored. And at that point, I really needed a wee. And Joanne was in the house. I was sat here in the bar. So I ran in the house and went, we've just scored. I need a wee. We're going to beat these where we're playing. Came back down, and we went back to where we were before, where we just let them come back at us again. I wish I'd held it in, because maybe it was my fault having a wee. I don't know. And then we just sat back, let them at us, and that's the worst thing you can do with that Spanish side. I mean, they said, didn't they, at the World Cup 2 years ago, they went out, but they said this is a good young side, and they will be a good side for a few years. And in all honesty, they were the best side in the tournament. There wasn't a side, and I think we all sort of went into, when we were in the last final against Italy, I think we thought we had a chance. I think our predictions, well, your predictions that were put on Twitter, I think they were all pretty much bang spot on, right? That we weren't going to win it. We'd had the easy run of the draw. We haven't performed. We've stuttered. And we've only ever looked good when we've gone one goal down, haven't we? We've only ever looked good when we've gone one goal down, and then we went back to norm, and then conceding in 86 minutes. It was dead and buried then at that point. Done.
Yeah, did anyone see the stat that was put out about Sheffield Wednesday and England and penalties? The last time Wednesday went a whole season without a penalty was 66. Yeah,
that went well.
And they said, and that's exactly what Matt Strickland said. He said the Wednesday penalty stat was no use. Stevie, England 2-1 crushing defeat in another final. How do you feel about it, mate?
Yeah, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. Because, the bottom line, I've talked a lot over the last few weeks about my opinions on the manager and the coach. And I think with hindsight, I listened back to some of the things that I said, and it may have, whilst my sentiment was where it was, and I stand by the sentiment, I think I might have come across as being quite harsh last week in terms of things that I'd said about Southgate. And I do believe that there has been changes under his regime, and I don't think the thing is, I don't think anybody will ever know how much it's purely him or how much he's part of the machine, part of the FA. People will say penalties, the whole penalty psychology is because of Gareth Southgate. If it is, great. I'm now of the opinion that he's a cog within a bigger sort of machine going on, and that there are other people that are sort of having a look at that. If you listen to any analyst, and if you listen to people that are talking about it, they will tell you that we didn't turn up, and they'll tell you that we tactically weren't there, and Spain were tactically better than us, and Spain outplayed us. On paper, player for player, I firmly believe that we have a squad that is the equal of Spain, and if Spain were better than us, it's because somebody got the tactics wrong. And that, I know it sounds like it's a witch hunt for Southgate, and I don't want to sound like that. The guy has brought me 2 finals that I didn't think when I was 20 years old I'd see 2 finals in 4 years. Congratulations, Gareth Southgate. You've done a wonderful job on paper. Statistically, you've been great. But at the end of the day, I have to believe that there is somebody out there that can take this bunch of players and do a better job. And I know that sounds harsh the day after, losing a final against that team, but I just do. I believe that there are coaches that are better, that could do a better job. play more progressive, more attacking 2024 football that we haven't done.
Charlie, do you agree with Stevie on that? Do you think that probably a different manager would have got the better tactically out of the squad? You don't know the ins and outs of it, behind the scenes. There's things coming out that half the squad's injured, carrying injuries and stuff, but they do, don't they, all season?
You have to compare it to Wednesday. You look at the team that Danny Roll inherited when he came in and what he did with an almost identical bunch of players to what happened under Cisco. You cannot say that a manager and a manager's influence does not play a big part. To what extent that is just the tactics, to what extent that is just the mentality, you can get a different tune out of the exact same team. And I think we've got as many trophies as we had before he came in, like really, like in terms of like broader achievements. But then it depends what you're measuring in. Like, I have a lot more fun watching England play now than I ever did when I was a kid. In fact, when I was a kid, that's what England were. Very shit, and and went out like that was the joke. Oh, we go out in the quarters, we go out in the groups. Like, it was, you had no expectations whatsoever. That was part of it. And I think now the fact that we've made 2 finals, and like my 8-year-old cousin I watched it with yesterday, this is what he thinks England is. We just miss out right at the last. Well, for me growing up when I was your age, that was, we wouldn't have dreamed of getting to a semi-final, let alone a final. So I don't know, I think there's clear potential that something is not right, and it's not that it's all entirely Southgate's fault. I think there are certain key players who went missing. My colleague was, who's not like a huge football fan, but she was like, God, poor old Harry Kane must be getting on a bit. He looked knackered. I was like, he's my age. He's only 30. But I think he did go missing. I think I think Foden went missing. So I think there are individual performances to critique, but ultimately, I think you just have to say.
I'm sorry to jump back in, but he got the tactics wrong. The setup wasn't right. He shoehorned players into, because he needed to shoehorn players in. Harry Kane hasn't been right this tournament. I'm sorry, and I'm a massive Harry Kane fan. But the fact, there was no question Harry Kane was starting last night, and we've had Tony, who's done bits. We've had Ollie Watkins that came on and did little bits and was more progressive when he came onto the pitch last night than Kane was. If Kane's not fit, he's not sharp, why are we playing him? And like I said, I'm a huge fan. We've got Bellingham, the best. He's going to be on the shortlist for the Ballon d'Or, and we've shoehorned him into a setup that's got him playing on the left-hand side of the midfield. We've done the similar sort of thing with Foden. We've ended up playing Trippier as a left wing back inverted. All right, our hand has been forced a little bit there because we don't have that quality in that position necessarily. But we haven't played to the strengths of the squad. I just don't believe that. I don't believe we have. The one person that gets a pass for me out of all of it, and I'm going to be really controversial here, I think Saka has made a silk purse out of his house here. I thought, whilst he's not always been the best player on the pitch, he's never let us down. He's played out of position and done what he's had to do.
Penalty a couple of years ago.
I'm talking about this tournament. Let it go.
If any game where Saka fell out of it was actually last night, I thought he'd been our player of the tournament up until last night.
Oh no, that's wrong. Mark Gahey, all day, all day.
Well,
for someone who's coming at last minute, never played real international football.
I think coming back from, I agree in that respect, but coming back from what the poor lad had to go through 3 years ago after missing that penalty, come back and then actually put that all behind him and just carry on and get his head down and play like he has done. I think he's been superb. I think another problem with Southgate, I agree entirely with the rest of you guys, was the fact that he didn't change the teams when he saw it wasn't working too early enough. I think last night was the first time he brought subs on prior 60 minutes. And you look at what the guys he's taken, the people have sat on that bench and I think have played. Anthony Gordon played 5 minutes of one game, these 4 minutes. So he's played less than Chalobah then. So in regards to if you were talking about that sort of
If you'd have gone in 91st minute, that would have been it.
Absolutely, it'd have been 0 minutes on his Wikipedia page. You know, these players who have come in, and you know, and that's another thing is the plan B, putting plan B into effect. That he's put plan B into effect at 80 minutes, which is too late. You know, and the Trippier pairing Kieran Trippier where he played him, and continuously playing him in that position and not realising actually it wasn't working until 70, 80 minutes is one of his downfalls. And unfortunately, in my opinion, he has to now say, I've done as much as I can, and we move on. Who we move on to, I don't know. Don't ask me that question.
I thought Southgate got it right bringing Shaw in last night. I thought
absolutely right.
He says Shaw's not. I think the last game he started was February the 16th for Man United. That was the last game he started. And he starts a championship international final. And I thought he did quite well, actually. He won his first tackle challenge pretty convincingly. And I think that set the tone. Because I don't think, I'm not going to butcher the lad's name. You know, the youngster, 16, 17-year-old.
You mean the man?
Yeah, I thought he kept him quiet on the right side.
Did it first half.
In first half, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, I understand you've got to. It'd be the same for any club team. I understand you've got to play your talisman striker, who is Kate. But I agree with Stevie. He has not been at the. All right, he scored 3 goals, but he's not been at the races all tournament. Really hasn't.
And he wasn't at the races for the second half of the German season either. So for Bayern Munich, he wasn't. You know, towards the end of the season, I don't know when he stopped scoring, but he hasn't had the best end to the season.
Yeah. And this is the thing that gets me about the Southgate. Just to sort of my final bit on this is, if he is the figurehead, the talisman, the spearhead coach, manager, the head of the FA on pitch stuff, you see it, and he's going to have the bollocks. Excuse me, Molly. He's going to have the bollocks to say, right, I'm going to leave this player out. I'm going to change this. If this is where Bellingham plays, I'm going to play Bellingham here, and I'm going to leave Foden out, or vice versa. And I know people will say that you can't do that, but I just think there's been a huge element of player power. And you know, you listen to the pundits and the analysts, and they're sitting there and they're going, well, who would I listen to? And I'll name it. The Rest is Football. This morning. And Lineker was talking with Alan Shearer and Micah Richards, and they were talking about who they were going to the 2 substitutions he was going to make at the end of the game with Trippier and Gallagher. Why are we making these defensive substitutions at 1-1? What's the plan? Are we going to then sort of turn around and sit in? And then the question was asked on that podcast, who is Gallagher coming on for? And they went, well, it must have been Foden, because he's not going to bring Bellingham off. And you're thinking, well, was Foden any better or worse than Bellingham? Why are you not going to bring Bellingham? You know, there are certain. The bottom line is there are certain players in that England setup that are untouchable. Kane will start every game because he is Harry Kane. Bellingham, and I'm not arguing the Bellingham one. Bellingham hasn't hit the heights that he might have done, but the bottom line is he's not played in the right formation and in the right position over the last sort of 3-4 games, and that's because Gareth Southgate is a manager, in my opinion. So,
to be fair on that, Bellingham has played out on the left for Real Madrid most of the season. So coming in off the left is what he's done this season. Scored, what is it, 20 goals?
In that formation, maybe. I'll hold my hands up, but you know,
different formation. But the Trippier thing, I think Trippier coming on probably for sure would probably the right thing, because he's not played 90 minutes, and you don't. But Conor Gallagher, I just don't get anyway. So, but
no,
there you go. Just to wrap this final up, if Southgate tomorrow morning, I'm sure he's not done it yet, but hands his notice in, there's no one else, is there? Who else is there? I mean, I know it's not our job, and Dan loves that. It's not my job to say manager or anything like that. But who would you like to see in? No, don't say Danny Rule, please, because he's going nowhere. Charlie, who would you like to see as England manager?
Oh God, it's all the usual suspects come up in it. It's like when we have our usual manager roundabout every half a season or so. Pulis. Why not? Bring the hat man back.
Oh no, he's tried that. Sam Allardyce.
Oh, I don't know. If the thought is we've got this talented bunch of players who, that all of them, they all play very, very, very well individually for their clubs, but Pref Southgate is just that little bit too sensible, not very brave. One of the things that I really noticed, having watched literally every game of the Euros, was how exciting so much European football is, and how just kind of like really balls to the wall, just like throwing everything at it is, that we just don't have. We're just very, and I just maybe like maybe a non-English manager, like maybe an international manager, maybe we should be going for some out of field, or I guess we just get Potter in, which is the most boring possible. Literally, let's just pretend that, I don't know, that the England team is Stoke, and we'll just do something extremely boring. Like we'll just get we'll spin the wheel, and we'll just get one of the usual suspects in. Yeah, I don't know. Warnock, give it Warnock. Why not?
I haven't got a clue, but it's the right time for him to go, because it looks like we've got a very exciting crop of younger players, and I want someone to get the best out of them. And someone who's going to, like Stevie says, who's going to make the decisions, who's not going to pander to maybe the player power, which I know it's going to be hard. Don't get wrong, but Simon, what do you think?
I was seeing someone's put Eddie Howe there. I think Eddie Howe would be a good shout. He seems to be able to. Everybody sort of questioned him going to Newcastle, but he certainly went up there and he's managed to sort of push them further. Probably not as far as the owners want them to go with the money they put in, but he's certainly taken some big personalities. But again, you're right. They've got to. I thought when he dropped Grealish and sort of the players that he didn't take to Germany, I thought he might be growing a set of balls and he might be able to make the big decisions on the big stage, but he obviously proved he didn't, and players sort of overruled him. So yeah, Eddie Howe for me, or like Charlie says, there might be a foreign hidden gem out there. I wouldn't want Jurgen Klopp. I just could not stand his bloody after speeches that he has to do after when a referee's not made the right decision for us. Because Christ, as an England manager, that happens a hell of a lot.
It's funny you should say that, Simon, because my son's been on Klopp.
Yeah, well, he knows nothing, old Shadrach.
Stevie, you can have the final word on this. Manager-wise, who would you like to see? Or who's the top of your wish list for England, that is?
Potter. Yeah.
For me, there's something why he's not had a job in there. There's got to be something in that.
I know he's not the most glamorous, but if you look at what Brighton were doing before he went to Chelsea, has that comment just gone up?
Yeah. Wayne, Steve Bruce isn't busy at the moment. Oh,
Steve Bruce. Yeah, I know he's not glamorous, and my realistic choice would be Potter. We can't afford Klopp. We can't afford Guardiola. We can't afford Pochettino. We can't afford Simeone and any of the others. You're not going to get a manager of that level coming to England. Man City are going to pay 3, 4, 5 times the amount of money that England could pay Guardiola. So those people aren't going to come in. I like the way that Brighton set up. I think they played attacking, high tempo, fast pressing football. I know he said don't say it. Danny Rule is the type of manager that would win competitions with this set of players. He is, and I'm not saying he should be or I'd want him to be, but that profile, and I think Potter suits that mold more closely than Southgate does.
I think I'll finish on Jimmy 1867's comment. Frank Lampard or Wayne Rooney. So it would be Frank Lampard's England or Wayne Rooney's
England. Yeah.
So that's it. That's the last. I'm going to say ever. You're only supposed to blow the blood doors off because Dan will probably come up with something else. Yeah, thank God. So
You've got to bookend it by playing the logo again.
No,
for the last time. No. Right, cover your ears, everyone. Warning: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
I've literally jumped while I've been listening to this on the train. So I think it's the first time I've actually been involved in one of those. And twice I jumped while sat on the train when that happened, even though I know it's coming. And the third time nearly crashed my car because of that.
Nice. I did the same.
Thanks, Dan.
So cheers for that, boss. So we're on to. We've come to an hour. He'll be twitching because we're going over an hour. We've got any other business? So anybody got any other business? I have a couple of items, but I just thought I'd put it out. Stevie, please, you go first. You have your hand up. Mr. Spence at the back.
Thank you, Mr. I just wanted to open the floor to you, actually, because I know he's your boy. Our former talisman midfielder, George Byers, signed for Port Vale.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Shit a fucking brick. What a signing.
That is cheat mode in League Two. It's literally when you remember the cheat codes you used to get for your PlayStation, the people that used to put in magazines. That is, Darren Moore's got like these. He's put them in, and it's gone bing, and George Byers has turned up. All right, boss. It's just mental. What a player! What a player!
I can't get my breath. I was adamant. I was sure he would have gone to a lower championship, probably a newly promoted, or a Rotherham top of League One type of thing for Port Vale in League Two. Wow, it's a shout, that, Stevie. What do you think?
It seems incredible, doesn't it, that he's taken that. You don't know if there's any sort of medical reason or anything that we don't know behind closed doors, that because he did lose a pace a yard or two, didn't he, last season? He didn't look quite right, but the potential certainly for the top end League One, bottom end Championship, smaller club, we do respect, like you said, a Rotherham or a Portsmouth or someone like that. And it's not like he's stayed in the area if he's going to Port Vale. So, I wish the guy well. He's lots of good memories, and it was nice to see Port Vale fans asking Wednesday nights what he was like, and then the thread of reels and clips and comments and the number of times that Cruyff turn against Newcastle I saw him in a 24-hour period was absolutely unreal. I know he's a fan. I know he's a Wednesdayite now, and I know we know he's got an affinity with the club, and I know that he's going to be back. And he said he's going to be back this season to support us. I wish him nothing but the best. And
are they not playing up at Harrogate at some point? I think Harrogate not in their league. I think, or I think they were. I think North Yorkshire Owls were saying about going up and watching it. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah, but we're at home, are we? We're at home.
Yeah, I love that.
We might not.
I'm straight down the road to Chesterfield, me.
Well, yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be at home as well at that time. Although Sky will move it to any other random night.
It is a great signing, and I'll Port Vale, Robbie Williams, and all that. I will keep an eye out for him. Because I don't think he's, like you said, Stevie, the well wishes and well done, and hope he does well and he's going to come back. He's not done anything wrong. He'll every time he comes back, and I think the Blackburn game last season when he was in the stand and all that, I think you do get players that take, and he was only here for a couple of seasons. He's not like he's 5, 6, 7 years in. He's not done a long stretch, but he's took the club and the club's stuck to him and the supporters have. So I wish him all the best. Anyone that follows on social media, Nathan, you'll see that we did do a Euros Fantasy Football League. I was crap, so it's all finished now, and we have a winner. There's no prize; it was just for shits and giggles. And I wish someone didn't win because I can't pronounce it. So, mate, Adurian FC. Adurian FC, there's no name for it, so I don't know who it is, if he's a listener, a watcher, or if it's just a random person. Got 402 points. Won it with a respectable score. So he's the winner of the Wednesday week fantasy football. So well done, you. Also, we did do a sweepstake to raise a couple of quid. So there was £100 for the winner. Jabo321 on Twitter, who's a follower and listener. He won his £100. I paid him today, so he's happy because he was a bit upset last night. So he had Spain. Yeah, that's that. The other last little. Sorry, Stevie, go on.
No, just to piggyback on the back of that, we are 4 weeks away from start of the season, so the last man standing will kick off again. Anybody that's listening that's still involved in last season's last man standing.
Oh, we don't talk about last season. That's done with.
I'm still
There we go again.
Last lady standing.
Yeah.
Of the Wednesday, I think you're the only one left of it. Are you in it, Steve? Still?
No, I went.
No.
I can't remember that. So
the sole representative.
Charlie then.
Wow.
Just Charlie.
They are good laughs, and you know it does do a lot of sort of traction business for us in terms of the podcast, raising money for the community initiative. We've done the raffle that you'll be aware of. There's a raffle going live at the minute for the away shirt that Charlie is passionate wearing tonight. That's you know a really nice kit. When we do things like that for the benefit of people that might be listening for the first time this season or jumping on because they've heard that Sheffield Wednesday are a thing and Danny rules around and blah blah blah. You know, we are not for profit. I say it time and time again. We're not for profit. What we like to do is raise money so that we can give back to people that can't afford to go to games, that can't afford to buy a shirt, that can't afford to have those experiences. And I'm very, very proud of this guy, Ash, because the bottom line is the community initiative is entirely his idea. And, you know, we do things for the people that tune in and listen. We're not asking for money. You know, we don't have a Patreon. And that's not a dig. You know, it's just the bottom line. What we do is we raise money so that we can give back to people that want to be part of this community, because it's hard. You know, at the end of the day, there's a lot of negativity on socials about how much ticket prices are, how much a match day ticket is, how much it costs to buy a pint, how much all of those things cost. If you've got a family of 4 that want to go to the game as a one-off and you can't afford to do it, then you know you're in trouble. If we can lighten the load a little bit with the stuff that we're doing, then that's what we're about. And if you are that way inclined to think it's a good notion, a good project, a good idea and initiative to do, then please jump on what we are doing, because you know we're giving back to you guys.
Yeah, that's what we're doing it for. It's not for us, like Stevie says. It's for you guys. Anyone listening, anyone who knows, anyone who wants to get to Wednesday but can't afford to go. I think I'll speak for all of us. I will just say that if we just get one child or one adult that gets to Hillsborough and we inflict that lifetime of pain, we'll be happy. If we can get someone to Hillsborough to watch Danny, especially to watch Danny Rule and Chris Powell do their thing, then it's brilliant. Just had a couple of questions. Lost Boys on Ash, pal. Do you think McNeil is in front of Bailey in order of the team sheet? Thumbs up if a yes. He's got to be, hasn't he? And I've Lost Boys, mate. Yeah, I've got to go for that. It's for WRC 2006. Have we got a sponsor this season? I think some people have asked. Obviously, the Star Boys, not Masaba and Gassama, Miller and Cram. This question on social today as well, and I'm sure they'll report anything, or the club will announce some sort of shitty iron-on thing for a generic Yorkshire company.
I think we enjoy the shirts without the sponsor as we have at the moment, which is 1990-91, where we didn't have a sponsor until the League Cup final, which had Asda on it. That season, we did not have a sponsor on the shirt. And then the following season, we had Sanderson, I do believe. So that season, obviously, we got promoted.
So what you're saying? We'll have a sponsor for the playoff final?
When we no, it's promotional play, mate.
Last home game for
Carabao Cup, as it is now called.
I'm not seeing anything. I'm sure we're never in the know anyway. So you'll find out before us lot, because we're It is.
And that orange. Sorry, Ash. That orange shirt is a thing of beauty without a sponsorship on it. It is a beautiful thing of beauty.
Not
Charlie said it's very comfortable as well.
Oh, it's stunning. Yeah,
not
really
for
nice
us guys
material.
of a certain athletic size,
No,
they are probably not.
I think they run big. This is a
cheers, Charlie.
child one.
I know they run big.
T-shirt. Like, I don't think they're like restrictive. Like, sometimes the material is terrible on them, but this is good.
I think
is polo-y.
I think but I think the colour is, if you want to see a giant Satsuma walking down the road, then hence why I won't be buying one.
The early 90s, like I tweeted out the other week, the early 90s
tangoed.
That's me. That
absolutely.
would be me. But,
a little bit too much orange going on.
The only last thing to mention is, mention it every week, but it's something that needs mentioning. Liam Palmer's testimonial's coming up 3rd of August. Get your tickets at chefwednesday.com.
Got mine.
Got yours, eh?
Got
so
mine.
Please, if you can, obviously, if you want to go see, we're playing CD Leganés. Yes, we don't know why, but we're playing them. They're also playing Burnley as well. So we can see how they get on, can't we, against a league opposition. But 3rd of August, 1 p.m. kickoff. I believe only the South stand is open at the minute, but more tickets means more seats and more stands. So please help one of our own out.
I hope they bring their Super Cucumber with them as well, who is their mascot, which is a Super Cucumber, which made me giggle when I went on their website. And they're playing Blue and White Stripes as well. So that's going on Blue and White tours. So just outside Madrid. That's where they're based. Suburbs of Madrid.
Spanish team. Not so tasty after last night, is it? Stevie, any other business from yourself?
I love Liam Palmer.
Yes,
that will be clipped. Charlotte?
I love Liam Palmer too. And Chris Powell.
Simon?
I love them both.
We're playing Red Bull Salzburg on Saturday. And I so wish we could go behind closed doors. But Red Bull Salzburg versus, who did we play? Mercia kids team last season. So.
Salzburg leads though, isn't it now? So they're all of the one now. So
I don't care. It's just another level up. It's fantastic. Long may it continue. By the way, I love Liam Palmer.
Yay!
You know what? I love all you guys. There you go. And I'll leave you with that. Thank you very much for listening to the Wednesday week. It's been a pleasure as always, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week, bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. I normally just turn up and phone it in.
I'm a little bit older than you.
Like
that zero's gone, that goose egg's gone.
Also featuring player interviews. It's Mr. Lee Bullen, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. John Harps, ladies and gentlemen. It's Captain Fantastic once again. It's Mr. Glenn Lubens.
Oh, it's Mr. David Stockdale joining us this evening.
It's Mr. Lloyd Owusu, ladies and gentlemen. He's joining us live on the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Carlton Palmer. How's it going, CP? You all right? Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday Week 24-25 season. Join us next season.
Put on your podcast.